She said I'm a leprechaun.
Oh my God, he is.
She said I unfold and then come back.
He folds in and out of this dimension. He knew
Origami
exactly
love.
what I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, welcome back to AMOM. I'm Z, joined today by Sun Yoga and Win Lung, as always. And our guest today, Julie Chertow, who is a healer focusing on essential oils. And she's already given me and Miles a taste, and we're feeling pretty tingly. Now she's going to go for James.
Yep. Hello.
What do you have for
Well,
for James?
he just came in, and I could tell his whole energy was shifted. And so I just asked, what's going on? You need some oils, clearly. And I know these so well because I've been using them for 24 years with my clients, and I have just seen incredible things shift. And, this wisdom I carry, I've certainly learned a lot in this life, but I carry in from other times because it's a universe. And I might be reaching for an oil, and the spirit of somebody is like, I have some idea or agenda, and then it like completely changes, and my hand goes to, and it's not a mistake. And I have to trust it because it always turns out to be what that person needs. And these really deserve the respect and the honor and the, time to learn about them and to understand them, because they are a tool like nothing else I have ever seen in my life that can shift and transform emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally in seconds, in minutes. Sometimes things take longer, bigger issues, some diseases or this or that, but that's okay. In different ways to use them, but they deserve the proper respect and honor, because it's what God brought us to help us, especially in these times. And really, we need something. This world's a little bonkers, and these just harmonize, and they're magic, And should I just share something? I'd love to share the biggest aha I ever had about this sitting on my couch one day, and it was years after using them on so many people and watching and contemplating them, and it just poured into me. And I went, oh my God, no wonder why. And so here's what I realized, and I know we can all relate to this. I'm going to use a tree, for example. A tree is rooted deep into the earth, and its top is always growing toward the light. It's always in the light, the sun, but always growing. And a tree does not ever compare itself to any other trees. It does not have any judgments of itself or the other animals, plant life, humans. A human can come upon and carve its name, lovers' names in it, and it doesn't judge that. A forest fire can come and completely eradicate an entire thousands of acres of forest. And I have so often thought, how the heck does a charcoal blackened land with nothing left regrow? And my feeling about that is because it doesn't have any judgment. It doesn't have any shame. It doesn't have an opinion of itself or anything else. It stands in all its glory and all its life as God, as it's intended to be. Only we humans that are, by the time we're 3, we're fully conditioned by our families and our society. And
charred forest doesn't say, I'm too damaged to grow. It just keeps growing.
That's right. And that's, so when the plants, trees, flowers, roots, where these oils come from, are grown properly in healthy, well-nourished soil, watered with water that is clean. It doesn't have factory oozings falling all over it. That's distilled in stainless steel, so there's no heavy metals leaching. I mean, there's so many things that need to occur to retain the compounds. And one thing, if you put the temperature too high, you don't have the compounds. It's going to ruin them. So those are the lower grade oils, but there's no agency or company or anything overseeing essential oils. They are under the umbrella of cosmetics and perfumes. So anybody can put anything on the label, but it really matters, like where they're coming from. And how would we, the unsuspected public, know that a company in France distilled their lavender for 15 minutes when it actually takes an hour and a half to pull those therapeutic medicinal compounds so that you actually have that calming effect or whatever lavender is for, which lavender is considered the Swiss Army knife because it has so many compounds. I think they've studied or researched 250 compounds, but there's thousands more that they haven't yet. And so when you see maybe in a book that lavender's for migraines and for muscle spasms and for burns and for headaches, and it is all those compounds. And so when in doubt and you don't know what to use, don't go to just a health food store and get any oil. At this point, with all my years of studying and going to the harvests and learn and distilling oils and in Egypt and France and Idaho and Utah, and I've been to all the Young Living farms, and there's more now, participating in the harvest because I needed to see this for myself and understand it, especially from teaching and sharing and stuff. So anyways, my aha, just to finish that up, is when an oil is grown properly and harvested, distilled properly, and all that's in order, and we put these on, that consciousness of the tree, for example, I just gave, is pouring into our cells and into our tissue and into our brain and into our consciousness and into our blood. And that's why they so quickly transform us, and they de-layer all the untruthful stuff. When I said, what are you feeling? Ego, this, that, challenged. But we can shift that right here, which we're going to do on camera. And I will explain. So that was my big aha, because why were they changing every single person I used them on? It was remarkable to witness. I felt like I should be paying them because I was learning and just witnessing unbelievable stuff all the time. And they just sort of de-layer. They work layer by layer by layer. And I just am so grateful for this, And once you learn just even the basics, they have their unwavering mission. They have a purpose, like all of us. And they know where to go and what to do. We just need to open the bottle and put them on. That's it. They know where to go, what to do, and how to shift. There are oils for the physical, oils for the spiritual. One of the main things is their oxygenation. They raise our oxygen levels, and nothing can live in an oxygen-filled body that's of a denser nature like diseases. I mean, it can happen, of course, but they're great healing tools too. And then they raise our frequency. Everything has frequency. Music has frequency. Our human, disease has frequency. Thoughts have frequency. Food has frequency. Emotion has frequency. And
colors too, right?
And colors have everything.
See those colors?
Yeah.
I know.
That's our colors.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even know that. And so when we put them on and our frequency is raised and nothing of a lower frequency can live in higher frequency, as you use these more often, you start to elevate so that those denser emotions of jealousy or greed or fear or lack, and I mean, life has journeys. We can't avoid that. But when you got the tools, it can help make it easier. And I love that about these. So here's when he walked in, and I was like, whoa, what happened in the last 10 minutes he was out of the room? Something's changed. And I don't have a judgment on it, but I can feel it and I notice it. And of course, I just go, oils, he needs oils. So I picked, where's my glasses? Right here. First, I picked release. And this blend release is specifically for releasing resentment and anger, because that's the first thing I heard in your voice. There was something that pissed you off and changed or did not happen the way you had hoped or something. So there's resentment. Resentment is a very deep thing for all of us. I have these theories, I don't know if they're right or wrong, but they feel resonant to me. And I feel like we all have come into this life with resentment because we left our true divine nature. We left our unlimited self, our big, grand, enlightened, illumined self, and came into this more limited human experience. And I think, and we take the veil, we choose that. And when we come here, and it's not a bad thing, but I feel the basis of humanity's frustration and it looks like other things, but I have always felt that the base of that is exactly what I just said. There's because there's that seed in us that remembers, but when it gets covered up because of conditioning, it's harder to feel.
I resonate with that for sure.
Right? So.
Should I scoot out of the way so you can oil them up?
Sure.
Okay.
Or you can have them on the way. Or you can trade places. Or
Yeah, trade-
and
let's
then
trade places.
trade
Okay.
back
Yeah,
or
that's a
whatever
great
you want to
idea.
do.
Yeah, in one of my songs I mentioned Etch-a-Sketch Poet. I think that's what I hear you talking about too. Is
Really?
The shake it loose, start again at the base.
Shake it loose. So who wrote the song recently, a year or two ago? Taylor Swift, Shake It Up, Shake It Off.
Oh, nice.
One of our practices I study at an ashram here. It's why I moved to Ashland. And one of our practices it's a Rajneesh thing, and they put on this loud, crazy, wild music, and you just shake for 45 minutes or half an hour, whatever is set for us.
Probably good for the lymph.
Oh my! Well, it just shakes the shit out of yourself, and you just feel better. And when you cannot attack, that's not the right word. When you cannot deal with something emotional in our emotional field, it's always good to start with the physical because it's denser. And then it will gradually just go into the emotional. So thank you for going through whatever you are, because you get to be a really good example of how these work.
Thank you for helping share.
Sure. Am I talking too much?
No,
Perfect.
you're doing
You're
great.
the guest. We want.
Yeah, but you have to ask me stuff too.
Oh, it sounds like you're you're doing just fine. Wait, he did ask you. He asked you a question. He did. Remember?
There was one at least.
That's all we needed.
Okay.
Let you go.
The momentum has begun.
When I start talking oils,
Yeah.
because it's channeled, it's
Yeah.
wisdom, ancient.
Why we're holding the space for you.
All right, so release is for releasing resentment and anger. Does anybody know where resentment and anger lives in the body? Any clue? Guess.
I really want to know. Guess.
Like in the low gut right here somewhere?
You're really close. The liver.
Ah.
liver.
Our little livers really
Wow.
have a big job, and they work so hard. I mean, we should wake up every day and thank our liver, because it really takes a lifetime to cleanse it. Like, you have to cleanse every day.
Because it's cleansing us, right?
It has to, everything we feel, everything we take into the body has to go through the liver. So it's a big working organ and takes a toll.
Tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'm going to thank my liver.
Me
I
too.
just thanked him right now. I was
Me
like, hey, thank you,
too.
liver. Thank
We should
you.
just do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Thank you, liver.
Because that
you,
also
liver.
opens up the whole feeling of gratitude, which is really a good thing. Okay, so release. I'm going to empower you, so you don't think it's me to have to have somebody else put oils on, because that's not so.
Okay.
And are you right-handed or left?
I use my right mostly.
Okay, so you want to put it in your non-dominant hand, which is his left hand.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll put it in, and then it's a little cold out, so they got a little more. Do you guys want to try it?
I'll try a little bit.
Don't
We can't
be
use a little
frightened.
release.
Left, yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to try it, Mr. Cameraman?
Trip,
Yes.
come on in.
I love the
Okay.
word release. It's like real ease.
Oh, yeah, see? Look at that.
Cool.
Okay, so what you're going to do, I already taught them, is 3 times to the right, like this. 1, 2, 3, lightly, because you don't want to scramble the molecules, but this activates the frequency.
Okay.
So when you do that, and now put it over your liver. So that's the right side, and it's pretty big, you know?
Right side.
So on the, under the ribs and over the ribs on the right side. Okay. And now breathe it in. So you cup your hands over your nose and breathe in 4 or 5 deep breaths. And visualize it. It helps to set the intention and see, you know, any resentment, any anger just like leaving, dissipating, being absorbed. And I was explaining, is it on tape or should I say it again about the amygdala?
Oh, feel free to throw that one out. That's good.
Okay, so what's happening right now for him is that in our brains, we have what's called the amygdala. It's a little almond shape, and I just found out we don't have one, we have one on each side. I didn't even know that.
Either.
And it's not a gland, it's a center. And it is where every emotion we have ever had from the time we were in the womb until right now. And from the worst horrific traumas to the greatest joys and bliss and everything in between. And it gets imprinted into the amygdala all day, every day for years and years and years and years. And the only way that the amygdala is stimulated is through smell. So talk therapy is good for awareness. But awareness alone does not let go of how a pattern got set in there. What happened? Because we just hit the repeat button, like Groundhog Day, one of my all-time favorite movies, all the time. And we keep. It's because people need to know this wisdom. It's a breath. We're breathing anyways. It's free. Nobody has to deal with money issues. Well, you do have to buy the oil, but they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
And here's something else I'm going to throw in. I went to Petra, Jordan, and Egypt with the founder Gary Young because he wanted to preserve the ancient knowledge of the original frankincense trail. And there were no women. It was all Bedouin men. And so he hired 100 camels. I had my own camel named Casanova who fell in love with me. He was kissing me all over because I was massaging him. The owner, I had this camel for a whole day. It was amazing. And we were in the middle of the desert in Egypt and the pyramids, and I had a camel. And I was dressed as a Bedouin man because there were no women in the caravan.
Yeah.
So Gary Young made a real documentary film to preserve the truthful information of what happened on the frankincense trail. And many of them did not make it back. It would take a whole year through the deserts, and they didn't make it back, those that didn't because of disease, or there were banditos that would show up on their black stallions and come in with their machetes and steal the frankincense and the myrrh. And it was reserved. Frankincense and myrrh was prized more than anything on the planet, more than any monetary system they had back then, more than jewels, more than anything. The pharaohs would bury themselves with this because they actually believed that they could not go on in the afterlife if they still had evil deities, which equates to now emotional baggage. So they used these in the ancient days to clear emotion, what I'm talking about now. And there's a whole beautiful ceremony called the cleansing of the flesh and blood that Gary Young, when he was studying and researching in Egypt, had a guard come up to him. It was the same guard 3 times when he was taking a tour of the temples. He was at the temple of Isis. Tapped him on the shoulder. "Come with me, and I will show you what you came here to see," he said. And he shoos him away because everybody wanted the money, special tour or whatever. And he got lost. He went to another group so he wouldn't be found to be bothered. He just wanted to do this second time. "Come with me, and I will show you what you came to see." He's like, "Who are you? What do you, Third time. Same guard, another location. "Come with me, and I will show you." And so he had learned when you hear something 3 times, you want to act on it. And this guard brought him into a private, it was all chained and locked up, part of the temple of Isis. And this iron gate, when he hustled him through, because it was illegal that he was bringing him in there, and it slammed shut behind him. And he said he got the biggest chills up and down his spine and thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to pay him to get out of here." He's like, "Where is he taking me? What's going on here?" And he led him to a chamber that was just like a room with hieroglyphs everywhere. And Gary, professors had heard that this existed, but nobody knew where it was. And he was like led there. And it was, the guard let him take still photos and video.
Wow.
And he was studying at that time at the university. So he wasn't certain it was the thing that he had heard about or another thing or whatever, but he went back to the university with this. And they spent 3 whole days, he said. They needed release, screaming. How could an American find this out? We're Egyptian. We are from here. Yeah. How were you let? And they just screamed and screamed and screamed at him for 3 days. And then after 3 days, he said, "Do you want to translate perhaps so that we can find out what this is?" So they started to do that, and they could read hieroglyphs and everything. And it was this 3-day ceremony called cleansing of the flesh and blood. And the Egyptians, it was an emotional clearing, exactly what we're doing with you right now. Well, we'll move forward, but I got to tell you this because this is part of this. Yeah. So what was in there was a description of this ceremony, and they would be put into pure isolation, sound deprivation, sight deprivation, talking deprivation, no food, so fasting. They got to have water, and that was all. And they were brought out every day at sunrise and sunset from this chamber that they would just sit with themselves. And at the time that the sun would go beneath the horizon line, they would be dunked in this vat of water with an emotional oil that they were clearing. Like a baptism, like a dunking. Crown chakra, everything, put back in their chamber. And then at sunset, again, were brought out and dunked with another oil, the layers I was talking about, working in layers. And the hieroglyphs were full of recipes of these blends. Yeah. And one of them was release. And Gary Young formulated the emotional feelings kit that they have with the recipes from the temple walls of Isis from this ceremony.
Wow. That's intense.
And he went back in the years, and the same guard was there, and he brought Mary, his wife, in. So it was like a proof, that it was real. So another person saw it, and I don't think even the Egyptians really knew, like the guards. And he was, I think he was like one of Gary's guides or something that took a body in that moment and just sort of like, because like he didn't know him. He'd never, So
beautiful.
That's, oh God, yeah. And it was just, that is just magic and tells us like how ancient these oils are and how real they are and what we're doing. So, okay, going on, whoops.
That release smelled amazing.
Yeah,
I know.
that is-
It's like 5 or 6 oils in that.
yeah.
Do you feel a little shift, maybe lighter? Like that's the main thing that people feel is like a lift. Some people go into crime, but it's hardly that, which is okay if that happens. But it's mostly just like it's a lift. And then it's like it doesn't, you start to notice you're not as triggered over the same thing. And then eventually not at all. And then you know it's like done. So the next oil that I chose for whatever your situation is, and I didn't even need to know the whole story. I heard enough, like in 5 words, like I knew. Okay, so we can't really go further when there's a body inundated with anger and resentment. You can't go from anger and resentment to joy. You got to step by step. So something with work, some resentment, like he had an idea of something he wanted to do. So then I picked Into the Future. And this blend helps to remove obstacles that would come into our sphere of something we're trying to create and manifest and move it out of the way. So like, example, I'll never forget, I was on with the airlines trying to get a seat on this flight, and it was completely sold out at every airline, and I'm sorry, there's just no more seats. And I went, all right, we need to shift this. So I went and got Into the Future, and I put it on, and I breathed it, and I breathed in it. And I kid you not, the agent says, wait a minute, I think I just found something, stand by. It was like that fast. It was like within 3 minutes of putting this oil on.
Yeah.
And she says, I don't know how, but I didn't see this seat. I got you a seat, which was like, it was like during Christmas, it was the whole thing. Like it just seemed impossible.
Yeah.
So that's another example. So we're going to move some shit out of the way.
Yeah.
So you can have whatever it is. Am I tapped in right
yeah,
so far?
totally.
Okay. So
Even
left
beyond
hand.
that last conversation, this is just life where you're taking me. So
You only need 1 or 2 drops too. So
Okay.
I'll take some too, sure.
yeah, let's remove those obstacles. We don't need them.
The way you were saying that you choose the oils reminds me of how I paint. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'll totally intuitively move the brush or my hand over the paint, and I'll reach for something and I'll go, no. Or I'll move it and I'll go, no. And it's just intuitive.
That's so awesome.
I like to say listening to the muse, let the muse lead.
Yes, because that's our higher self. That's the more. Okay, so 3 times to the right. And where I put emotional oils, thank you for sharing that. It's really awesome. Okay, on your sternum is a good place. I like to put on the throat chakra, which is our communication, and then third eye, and then across the forehead, temples. And then I really love to put oils on the ears because there's hundreds of points on the ears. So if you've ever seen, you don't have to know where the points are, just cover the ears. It's going to affect, because I can't memorize all those points. So you're covered if you just massage it front and back of the ears.
The ears need that oil there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like our feet, we forget about like, oh yeah,
I
got
even like to
feet.
put it a little bit in, just a little bit right here. And then back of the neck. The brainstem is a major place for emotional oils. It's like Grand Central Station. There's the locus coeruleus and the vagus nerve, and it's all connected, and it's a really important place. That is in the indentation at the top of your neck, but you do never want to push hard there, okay? So be careful of that.
Whoops.
And it's good to put the, your brains might squirt out of your ears. I'm just kidding.
That's what that was.
I'm just kidding. Just make sure you have a friend with the catcher's mitt. Okay, so in the indentation, and then down, like I call it the T, across the occiput and down.
For everybody listening or watching, she's just putting a few drops in our hands. It does not take much at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so then did you breathe it in?
breathe.
You want to put it on first so it doesn't absorb it just into your hands, and then breathe it in, always. And what I like to do and think of, actually I'm going to teach you this breath because I'm going to make a sound so you understand it, but you don't have to make the sound when you're doing it. It's kind of like a wafting, and you're going to feel it take effect even more this way. So when you're breathing in, it's going to sound like this. And you don't have to make the sound, but do these that rhythm until it becomes a full breath, and you'll feel it like it'll make you really high too. You can almost do it silent. You feel that? Isn't that different?
Is that related to holotropic breathing
Could be.
or something like that?
I've never studied that,
What
but I think
is that?
it's
I
some,
mean-
it's some breath work.
Something. My limited breath work. My limited awareness is that it's like over oxygenating yourself, but in a specific way. I don't know. Don't try this.
Do you know that with oxygenation, how important that is? That any food we eat and any supplements we take cannot assimilate and absorb if our cells are not oxygenated. And Gary Young was the only one, or the original one, I'm sure people are copying him by now, of putting oils in the supplements so that they actually absorb. And I actually did my own little research project with this because I wanted to understand. And so I started to, when I learned that, I made 5 phone calls to colon therapists that I knew in LA when I was living there. And I said, so do you ever see whole supplements come out of people? And you guys working where you do is like you see how the basket's full of supplements, and the amount of money that people spend on supplements is crazy, right? So all 5 of them chuckled, and they said, all the time. And I'm like, oh my God, really? They said every day. I'm like, really? And then I was like, let me call 5 more that I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know me, don't know why I'm asking. I said, I'm doing a little research project, and they said the same thing. So, done. So then, why, when I was taking all the Young Living supplements, could I really feel them? It's because they have oils in them. So it's a good idea, I think, if you're going to be taking supplements, put Citrus Fresh in your water and drink it. We serve that at our cafe. It's in the water there all the time. And, you know, citrus oils are super high in limonene, which is supportive for cancer. I have to be careful how I say things these days because there's laws apparently now.
I just wanted to use that moment to just mention the cafe really quick. It's called, what is the...
Well, the umbrella name of the whole space is Essential Wellness.
And that is on Main Street in
Ashland. Yes.
Right next to
Bloomsbury,
Bloomsbury.
the bookstore.
Okay, so,
And the cafe is called Cafe Aroma.
okay.
We don't have a huge sign for that out. Perhaps I should put that out too.
And when are the hours of that?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 in the morning until 7 at night.
Awesome.
And it's all organic, it's all gluten-free, it's all vegetarian, and then we infuse these oils, into everything on the menu. So when you go in there, you're eating high-frequency food, big time. And it's so fun to watch people eat. You've both have been there. No, you haven't been. You have.
Yes.
Have you been there ever?
I have not.
Not yet.
I had, my daughter and I went and ate maybe a week and a half ago.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
What did you have?
I had the Rosemary Potatoes.
Oh, yeah. Those are so...
And
those
then
are perfection.
And I thought maybe Junie would eat these. You know.
Did she eat them?
She had a few.
Yeah.
She had a few. She's
got a lot of garlic in it.
Yeah, I think that might have been a little bit. And then I had the it would have been a sushi kind of roll.
Yeah.
But I had it put in a bowl just so that maybe she might eat some of the avocado and tomatoes and stuff, and it was
awesome.
really good.
It's really good.
And then
I mean, you
loved
can get that a dime a dozen. It's at Albertsons little rolls, you know.
it. It was excellent.
It's different.
Excellent.
Why? Because we put ginger essential oil in the rice when we're cooking it. You know, I mean, it just makes, it's not just for the flavor. It's like, yes, for the flavor, but again, raises the frequency, and I mean, it's got immune boosting properties, and it's got I could just go on and on and on.
And you guys probably love what you do, possibly more than the people at Albertsons making something similar.
I think so.
You know? Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Cool. I wanted to just point that out so people know that you have that too.
Yes, we do. And I did open it for the Aroma Dome, which we'll talk about later, because we're doing a treatment.
That's right.
We gotta.
Got a few more here.
Yes. So next, we're gonna go to. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just do 2 of these 3 here. Yeah. So we're gonna go in with a punch now. Okay. So now we've cleared the resentment and anger, at least some of it or a lot of it. We've removed obstacles. So now we want to go in and magnify the shit out of what you want, right? This is where it gets fun.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so this is called Magnify Your Purpose.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're using oils like these manifestation oils, you want to make certain that your thoughts, that you're thinking about what it is you're dreaming of, what you're creating, what you want, what you passion, because if you're thinking other things, that will magnify. So you want to, we could erase that too if we had to, if it was like going down that road. So it's not like a life sentence or something, but it's best to hold intention when you're using oils because they'll work toward that. Okay. So magnify your, and this is kind of like a manly oil. It's a little spicy and guys like it.
Perfect for us.
Okay, so 3 times to the right, activating the frequency, and then same place, the sternum, up the throat chakra, keep it out of your eyes, 3rd eye, across the forehead, ears, front and back, back of the neck, the T across the occiput, brainstem.
I love you, brain. Thank you, brain.
Thank you, brain. And then breathe in, and you can do your little wafting breath. And try to do it more silent, like. And you always want to breathe in through your nose and exhale through your nose. And our breath, I forgot to bring my book, but I wrote a book in 2 weeks and 4 days. That was crazy. But anyways, I did. I pulled that one off. It's called Aroma Dome, Changing Lives One Breath at a Time. And in it, I talk about the imperativeness of our breath because our breath is our life. And when we focus on our breath with consciousness like you're doing now, it shifts from just a normal human breath, which doesn't do much because most people don't even take 1 deep breath in their day. When you shift and you're breathing in oil with consciousness, with intention, the breath actually changes from just a mindless breath to prana. And prana is pure life force energy. It's God. And it's unlimited and it's always flowing. It's always there. And when we focus in on our breath and it turns to prana, it like gets activated. And it's normal if you start to feel lightheaded because you're getting oxygen in your brain for the first time probably your whole life, unless you are a conscious breather. And then the 1-2 punch thing, like I love, is to start to build a relationship with your breath and make it important, and as if it's like your greatest lover, and you just cannot get enough. You have a wifey coming?
Yes.
And a wife, and I don't know.
Well, that was part of my vision. I don't have one, but I'm hoping she's arriving.
She is.
There you go.
And you, I don't know. No. Lots of, you guys know, Ashland's notorious. I mean, you have the pick of the litter, right? You guys know that, right?
Well, our cameraman does.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like
good to be
this is
23.
Goddess Central.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, you guys. Like, people ask me all the time, are oils aphrodisiac? I'm like, no. But they balance hormones. They mimic hormones. And when our hormones are balanced, we're horny. Really. That's what it comes down to. We have our juices flowing. That's normal. That's natural. And so it's become a very big problem on our planet, like 20-year-olds with the lowest testosterone levels. Like that's happening from food choices and preservatives and sugar and stuff, environmental pollutants. And the oils can shift that. They mimic hormones. It's yet another thing they do. You don't have to think about it. They're doing it, you know. And yeah, but I mean, Gary Young did a study and took 1,500 of his employees at Young Living from age 18 to 65, and men and women, and there was only one woman at 57 who had almost balanced hormones. All the 18-year-olds, 19, 20, the guys, no testosterone, like none. I mean, it was just gone. That's scary. So it's an epidemic on our planet, and here's a tool that God gave us that helps. So there's an oil called goldenrod. That's funny. But it is, it's for that.
For the lingam.
It's for the lingam.
For the lingam.
King Lingam, Prince Lingam,
For
Princess Yoni.
my wife's birthday, I bought her, became a wholesaler for Young Living.
She did.
Yeah, it's under my name, but I gave it to her the
Awesome.
subscription.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I didn't, and it's neat that you're working with Young Living, because I knew there was a couple brands and I didn't know, but you came through and you were saying, well, just the stories of you hanging out with Gary Young alone
Oh my God.
already shows me where his intentions are, and that's beautiful to know. And it makes, we have a lot. I don't know what we have, but we have a bag on the windowsill, and we have our diffusers, and she does a lot of
awesome.
stuff already. So I'm
Wow.
really excited to continue this even
Oh
after
yeah,
this. So
big time.
thank you for sharing
because this
this.
is definitely planting
Yeah.
a seed,
Yeah.
and it will
I
continue.
can feel it
mean,
already. Yeah.
I used to drive every 6 weeks from Los Angeles to Ashland to come to the ashram and go to meditation retreats and stuff. And I listened to all the training CDs for 12 hours and I would put peppermint on because I didn't drink coffee, so that would keep me awake. And I was by myself, so I had to stay focused. Thank God it's one highway. It's the same Highway 5 from LA all the way up to Seattle, actually, right? So you don't have to shift a lot to different freeways. So if you start checking out a little bit, like you zone out. Isn't that weird when that happens? It's like we're driving, we're there.
You think we're focused?
Yeah,
but
we
you're
think you're
actually like
focused.
in a meditation state.
Yeah, it is. It's a conscious transcendence.
You're
The
just
samadhi of driving.
And it's like, where did 100 exits go?
One of my first time ever coming to Oregon was to go to a footbag hacky sack competition when I was competing in the 90s. And my friend RC and I drove my dad's 1970 Volkswagen Bug. He was 16 years old, I was 18 years old, and my dad let us drive, which was very interesting already. I didn't know they trusted me that much. But driving here, we were listening to Neil Young's tape. It just came out with Broken Arrow.
Yes.
And we had a nice sack of really swag weed and rolling up joints, and we're driving, and all of a sudden, it was Welcome to Oregon. We're like, what?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
where did
Where
the
did-
last hour or two go?
where did
How many times did that
California
the tape start over? And we were tripping that.
Isn't that's it?
It was one of those things, and that was a huge memory of first time I've ever come
And
to
you
Oregon.
weren't even using peppermint oil.
No, we were definitely
You were probably
using
on
herbs.
coffee.
No,
yeah,
it was herbs. We didn't drink coffee then. Probably wild cherry Pepsi.
Oh, God, that was so weird.
Yeah,
Cherry
that was my
Pepsi.
generation.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So we got one more?
I think
Yes.
my generation was Sobe.
Oh, the
yeah.
Sobe generation.
What is that? Sobe noodles?
It's a
No.
It's like a
soba. Yeah, Sobe. It's a. Is it tea? I thought it was like a fruit juice.
It's a I think
Oh,
they
that
wanted
drink.
it to be
Yeah.
perceived as
Do
tea.
they talk about generations with the drinks that come out?
Well, I think what we're talking
I
about
just,
it.
in high school.
Oh.
Yeah,
What,
in
you know-
high school, everybody was. Oh, did you get a Sobe? Yeah. Did you get the new flavor?
God, that's Asian.
So what were you drinking in high school? They only had water.
I used Young Living. Age is an interesting thing. I think it's just a number, and it's when we came on the planet, and it's wisdom.
Yeah.
It's wisdom. Life lived.
One of the Crystal Skull channels that I heard said, as you get older, relinquish that of young age with grace.
Yeah,
Accept the ages you're going to. And I'm 42 now, going in 43 with a child and all the different things I've been through. And, I had to realize I see it. I mean, even at this age, I'm like, just what I loved at 20 isn't what I'm into now. And my mother really passed that down when she said, when she was about 60, and she looked at me. She goes, you know what? I said something to her. She goes, I just don't care about that stuff anymore. What I cared about in my 40s, James, I didn't care about in my 50s. And what I cared about in my 50s, I do not care about now.
It's so
and
true.
I just went, that's interesting that life has those phases and shifts.
It sure does.
It's almost like a secret technique. So I mentioned earlier about tainting things.
Yes.
When we're young, we might not like onions or tomatoes. And if we did, we would have tainted how much we eat them. And it's like, how beautiful that, like, in a decade, we have something fresh to like.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You're right. I hadn't even contemplated that. It's so true. I love that. That's a great analogy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I probably won't tell you right now what drink was popular when I was younger. I have to think about that. What was? Well, there was definitely no kombucha.
Tab? I don't know.
Yes, that was it.
Tab? Okay.
My mom was addicted to Tab. And our whole family was trying to get her off because we knew it wasn't good for her. And I mean, it's an addiction. What's in it?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Sugar.
Oh, it's just sugar?
Well, doesn't sugar's like
the thing
cocaine to
that
your
gets us.
brain?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow.
I can't go a day without a Hershey bar.
Really?
That's my
Hershey?
It's hard.
You mean chocolate or Hershey bar?
Chocolate.
Candy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's... Yeah.
Chocolate, sugar, whatever.
Is that your weakness? Chocolate?
One of them,
What's your
yes.
favorite chocolate?
Oh, probably the Honey Mamas at work.
Those are probably pretty good, though,
So
actually.
good.
Which one? Yeah.
That's actually
there's nothing wrong
not
with
the
chocolate.
worst
Yeah, but I don't-
chocolate you could be
Not at
eating.
all.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend more than $1.
Yeah, those are like $6-7.
Oh, wow. I bet if you find them at markup of choice, it's got to be $10.
That was some beatnik flavor there. Damn. I caught that.
So what's the
Okay,
next
so
one?
then the last one I picked was My Destiny, because we want to because you can get thrown off your center when you have a reaction. I mean, we all know this. So and I'll just do a little commercial for this. That in our lives, in any given moment, we have the choice to react or respond in our life, and there's nothing. If you don't judge it, it's not bad or wrong, but it's just a different whole outcome, when you start to respond as opposed to every single thing having an opinion about it or judging yourself, and it just takes us down, and it does drop the frequency.
I think James was actually talking about that
Really?
last week with when Ken and Bridget were here. You were talking about not reacting, and it could have been the one before that with Leilani, but you were talking about not reacting, but holding on to that reaction and then responding from that.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's a really good thing to remember as much as we can. It really it can change your whole life, just that. It's a pearl, We have it in our cells. And when we go there, if I go there, I'll say inside myself, cancel that thought, and just choose differently next time or now. It's not too late ever, And
It's not too late ever. I wanna
No.
repeat
Not
that.
too late.
it's
ever.
never too late. And
Not
then
too
we
late
become a
ever.
watcher of us. You become a watcher, so you're not so identified with every single thing. And it's you watch. You become a watcher of your thoughts, of your actions. You watch. I always love, from meditation. I'm a meditator for years, and when I thought I couldn't meditate at the beginning because I was thinking too much and everything, I just made this up and it just works for me. And I've shared it with a lot of clients, people through the years, and it's really helpful. I just would see myself walking up the steps of a movie theater, the kind that we have now that are more slanted, and and then I sit down in the middle seat and I sit there and I look at the screen and I watch my thoughts, and that provides an ability to become the watcher, one removed from me being my thoughts or actions or whatever. And, if you can just slow it down and, slow down and then go up, we have to become friends with our ego. And these oils really help They really help with all of this that we're talking about. Anyways, okay.
That's something
My
I'm struggling
destiny.
with right now, being
Yeah.
friends with my ego.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to blend the two.
Yeah,
both
don't
angels,
vilify.
and become the middle path. The noble
This is a
middle
new
path.
blend for Young Living. It's called My Destiny. Brand new. It's really good.
Yeah, we were talking about that, you know, the quantum physics cat in the box thing. I find when I sit and listen more,
Back of the neck.
Okay.
I find that I have the opportunity to be the wisest thing I have never said yet.
Oh,
And the more I listen, the more that actually is where I step into. I start to think about all the things that I don't think about the things I could have said, but I find myself in the place where I'm feeling the best things that I want to say.
wow.
Yeah.
That's good. He's got a good, deep, rich mind. That's good.
You heard it here.
We have it on tape. It's proven.
And also, thank you very much for seeing my deep, rich mind.
Sure. He's a leprechaun. He's a leprechaun that folds in and out of this dimension. You heard it right here. What's the radio station called?
Does he
AM
fold the dimensions or?
Om, AM Om.
AM.
AM Om. He's a leprechaun.
And it is a radio station.
It is.
Vibrations coming to you through frequencies.
So tune your brain in to it.
So, how are you feeling from when you were reacting before, when you walked in here, till now? Like, what are you experiencing?
A lot more lightness, a lot more release. I mean, in those terms. I also meditate. I also study, and you know, it's not a coincidence that you're here today doing this here with these moments. You know, I chose to look at that phone instead of just put it down and figure out who was calling me before. I could have done this after this, right?
Perfect.
So I did it first and then came in here because this would have been with me afterwards. It wouldn't have still been here.
Right.
And I would have been dealing with it without what you just taught, without what you gave. So the synchronicity, obviously we know, is what we're
Perfect.
doing here. Yeah. So
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah. So for me, this is how my life has always worked. As long as I learn to listen and surrender. Surrender has been my word for a long time. To surrender to
We have an oil for that.
to surrender
oil
to
for that.
what could be. You know, it's always better. What can be was always better than what we thought it should be.
Right.
And I stay open to that. And so even with the situation I was dealing with, instead of arguing and getting into what you cannot do over text and stuff, I love speaking face to face because so much is lost in the typing, that I chose to surrender and gave the group over to the people and said, this is yours now. I've created something. It's yours. You run with it. We're okay. We'll continue with what we have. It wouldn't hurt anything to give it to them.
Oh,
So I knew
wow.
I didn't have to hold on to it or anything. And I released it. And then to walk in here, you know, and then you're helping with what you're bringing to
That's
it.
awesome.
It seems like that's what when I look at what the things I've seen you accomplish and do for others, it seems like that's what you do. You build it, and then you give the kite to the wind fully.
It is something that's come to me many times now. In San Diego and Ocean Beach, the hip hop night we started there is still going, and we've been doing it for 7 years down there. And when I left, instead of just like, hey, I'm leaving, that's it, you know, I went to my partners who I've been building with, and though they had never thrown shows or did anything themselves, I said, look, if I leave, it just disappears. But if you want to take the responsibility and hold this yourselves, I'm giving you this. Take this and do for
Are
yourselves.
they open to that?
Oh, they did it. They've been going for over a year now.
Oh, wow.
They just had their 1 year anniversary of throwing the shows without me around.
So what is this? You set up a DJ thing? Like
This
that?
was a hip hop culture, hip hop night. It's called Ocean Beach Hip Hop Social down there. I think they just did number 70 or.
So you set up like a DJ of music?
Yeah, I DJ, I produce. I've been an MC for over 20 years into the hip hop culture, and I make beats and DJ, and
Wow.
really love the hip hop culture. It taught me to listen, to think. It taught me, for hip hop, made me believe in God, because I was freestyling. Everything was improv to me because I did not respect my mind or my written lyrics. I felt I was not able to achieve what the people I appreciated. So, but the freestyle was, I had effort. I could give an effort. I could try. And that's what I thought I brought to the table. I'll try at least. For all the people who won't try, I'll try. I'll be the fool. I'll look dumb for you, per se, right? And then maybe you won't feel so embarrassed to try yourself.
Oh, wow.
And that was what I thought I could give. And from that
That's
came...
walking in and I don't mean any kind of like religion or anything, but that's walking as a Christ consciousness.
And it
It's a
was.
higher way of
Hip-hop
walking.
brought the concept of knowledge of self.
Wow.
And I never heard that term.
Wow.
And it started asking me what that was. And then that got coupled with meditation came into my life at that time.
That's amazing.
Psychedelics and other things. And I realized, in my opinion, that there was another world here underneath or the world that we were given to exist in. And I started this, and then the hip-hop lyrics were speaking that to me. So I would quote the hip-hop as I always called it my new Bible. And
Wow.
and I found spirituality through hip hop, and then that led me to reading spiritual books more,
Wow.
which has led me to esoteric knowledge and meditation and yoga. And
You just never know.
different
I
ones.
mean, there's so many, we're all going home
Mm-hmm.
to ourselves. And it's like, who cares how we get there? That's another thing. It's like, why judge somebody else's way? And I think that's a fundamental problem on this planet is like, there are people on the planet that it's their way or the highway. And it's like not necessary because it doesn't like we can coexist together and have a fully different belief. And I also know that we're all perfectly where we're meant to be
That's right.
in our consciousness and our growth and our awareness levels. And how could we judge somebody else? We don't even know our own stuff, like then to have some that we think we have knowledge about somebody else's internal workings and timings and oh my God.
I say that we cannot compare,
No.
but we can attempt to relate.
Right.
Because-
Just like a tree does.
Back to the tree.
They're always wondering if a human falls in the other room, is it still making a sound? No, that wasn't a human. They don't make sounds.
They don't make sense.
That's right.
It was a tree.
I believe in our time, we are the rememberers,
Yes.
the rememberers.
Yes.
And
That's
us,
a great name for a band.
and us in the Western culture, I was born in California on the West Coast, in this area, but these ideas were coming from the Eastern books and things, and I felt like it came all the way this way and was born in me.
Where did you grow up?
Merced, California, in the
yeah.
Central Valley.
Yeah.
And I believe that this show and what we're doing is these concepts that we feel like we feel are true, we're reintroducing them to those who haven't heard them yet.
Yeah.
We're just carrying the torch of those who did it before us.
Right.
And we're just saying we're all one. These concepts that people maybe have heard, but we're reintroducing them to the people who just go to work every day and do their thing, which is fine for where
Yeah.
they're at. Because everyone's at their own place.
Yep.
And that's also why you don't judge, because
That's
we
right.
don't know where they're at, their evolution.
No.
They might be
What they're learning, what they're being
and what they're
inspired by.
here for.
And then we have to also complete karmics and agreements that we made and contracts and things. And it's like, and the thing is, it's like somebody can believe in what they believe and it doesn't have to take away from what we feel.
There's
It should
abundance.
strengthen it.
Exactly. And it's like, whether it's political or religious or it doesn't matter. It's like, I really, the majority of people on this planet just want to live their life out in simplicity with their families and enjoy. And,
That's right.
but there's such a small group and a mighty power, or so-called seemingly power.
What's that line? It's like, we're like the colors of a rainbow. We may look different, but in essence, we're the same,
We are.
though.
We are. We all want the same things, really. And you don't have to kill people because you don't believe in their God. I mean, we're all going home,
And we used to do that. What I say now, and I've read some really neat stuff, like the patterns of destruction and the murder and the killing that we've seen over and over in the last thousands of years were the old ways of achieving a goal. But I do believe that the new race, the new us who are coming to life and will come to life, are the ones who realize we no longer need to kill to achieve.
That's
We
right.
no longer need to do these things. We don't need to
Exactly.
steal anymore. That there is
Yeah.
abundance, and we are
Enough
coming.
for everybody. Yes.
We are coming to fruition. And I really appreciate that you're sharing ancient knowledge in the new times as well. And I do want to touch on the Aroma Dome a little, if we still have time, just to talk about a little bit, and we'll definitely show some photos and different things of where you have this at your shop and everything too.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's as a body worker and with these oils for all these years, I kept finding that I was like putting towels over my head and my client's head, always trying to trap or contain the oils. And there is a picture in my book for my first Aroma Dome. It was with a friend. She had like a bronchitis, medically diagnosed, and pneumonia both. And she had been trying to help herself, both Western and alternative, for like 6 weeks, and nothing was shifting. She couldn't sleep at night. It was just like really bad. And I said, we need to tint you. And I was actually inspired by Gary Young at a training when we were like 2,000 people there, I remember, and he was telling us about this patient that he had, because he also was a kind of naturopathic doctor. He's so knowledgeable. And this guy had this very, very rare form of lung cancer where his like lung was being eaten away. And he had like 2 weeks left to live. And Gary created this makeshift tent somehow and put it around him and picked this oil, RC, which is not even an anti-cancerous oil. It's a respiratory oil. And
Which one was that?
it's called RC.
Yeah, that one.
It stands for respiratory congestion. You can smell it. It's got probably about 7 or 8 oils in it, but it has 4 kinds of eucalyptus in it, and peppermint and spruce and a bunch of stuff. And he put the diffuser in, and the guy fully healed. Like, he's still alive to this day, and he was on his way out. And I was like, wow, that's inspiring. And at that timing, I would find postings and testimonials and treatments and this and that and send it to my whole group of people that I was educating and helping, clients and stuff. And one of my, she was actually a client of mine in LA, and she was using these oils, and she's an acupuncturist, and she started to do these makeshift tents over her patients. And when I would come to do massages there in LA, she would tell me these like almost like too good to be true stories of like, it didn't matter what people had, a hormonal or a back injury or liver stuff or whatever. And she said, it just changes everybody. And I'm like, wow, I should try that. She goes, you're the one that sent it out to me 2 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I sent a ton of stuff out. It doesn't mean I do it all, you know. I was inspired by it or whatever. So anyways.
That's getting me high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. These oils will do that. Oh, yeah. Isn't that delicious?
Yeah.
Oh, so pure. So good. Here, you have to try it too.
So you created...
So I created Aroma Dome. Well, what happened was, to finish with this, thank you. I put Anne on my massage. This is how Aroma Dome was born. I put her on my massage table, and I chose the oils, and I went out and got, because my acupuncturist friend was doing this, and I got a Mylar blanket, which is a $2.50 silver camping blanket. It's loud. It's crinkly loud. And it's used to, like an emergency blanket, to retain heat. And I thought if it retains heat, it's got to retain the smell or the oils, molecules. And so that's why I chose that. And I opened it up and I put it over her and went, oh. And because it fell on her face and it fell on the diffuser, I'm like, that's not going to work. So I started becoming the great gatherer. And I was walking around my house here in Ashland. I'll never forget this. And I had to build up 3 sides of the massage table. And I'm like, I have toilet paper rolls, I have stacks of CDs, I have pots and pans, snow boots, upside down waste paper baskets. I had my drums, my djembes, and I have a picture of this in my book. And I kept saying, this is so stupid. I said, and it took me like 45 minutes. And I'm like, I'm glad she's my friend, but this would be highly embarrassing with like a client, a paying client. I said, somebody's got to think of something. This is ridiculous, you know? Anyways, I finally get it built up, and it's just all this crap around her. And then I put the blanket now over this, so now it's raised, and now she can breathe in, and it's not like killing her in the process of being healed, suffocating by the Mylar blanket. Not good PR. And within 15 minutes, I just made it up. I set the timer, 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off for 3 rounds. All symptoms gone, and we were blown because nothing she tried was working. And we do have this problem on our planet now with antibiotics. They're not all working and taking effect. So like we have to go back to the medicine that God gave us, and we have these. When they're oil like thieves, like it is an antibiotic. It's not like one or sort of, it is, and it's no side effects, and they are effective and they work. Anyways, commercial. So then her husband started getting symptoms, and I had to take all that stuff and put it all away. And the next day, she said, "Could you do my husband?" And I'm like, "Sure." And of course, I didn't think about it. I put him on the table. I opened the I went, "Oh no." I had to go gather all that stuff again. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Somebody's got to think of something. All the symptoms went away. And fast forward, I went back to LA in 6 weeks. One of my clients was in the Malibu fires and was fully smoke inhaled. Lungs, like, just couldn't even breathe. Like, he walked in. I'm like, we need to tent you. I didn't have any of that stuff. So I took a beach towel with my right hand, and I held the diffuser up with my left hand, and let the towel just sort of, and my back was hurting, my neck was hurting. I'm like, this is just not going to work. Like, this is ridiculous. Somebody's got to think of something. And he jumps off the table. He knocks my diffuser out of my hand and breaks it, because it was a glass thing then. Runs into my bathroom, and what I heard, I thought my career is over. I just blew it. I don't know what happened, but he sounded bad. And I thought, don't die on my shift in my bathroom, please. He was like, these sounds coming from there were just horrific. And he comes out like 5 minutes later, and he's like, oh my God. He goes, I just coughed up a blackish brownish, like it was like a plug or like he said the size of my thumb, and he was 100% better. I'm like, really? I'm like, wow. I said, it's me. It's me. He goes, what's me? And I said, it's me. I have to do this. Come up with this whatever.
Awesome.
And I'm a massage therapist. Like I'm not an engineer, or I sew or like design, and I didn't know how to get it from my head into third dimension. That took another year. And my very first one, I hired a friend who does upholstery sewing in Shasta, and she made 36 PVC pipes frame that you had to install here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and the full length of the body, 36 of pieces. And then she sewed a cover for the full length of the body, fabric that had all this chemical in it. It stunk. And I said, nobody, including me, is ever going to put this together. And I paid like $450 to her and it took me months to get rid of the smell, even having oils. It was so bad. And by the way, Aroma, I fought tooth and nail to not have to put, by law, any fire retardant or polyurethane spray, which is on all children's clothing, tents, their play tents. Don't put children in play tents. Get an Aroma, don't let them play in there. Because it is so dangerous. And then, like I have people, they don't want to invest in an Aroma dome, so they go out and buy a kiddie tent. And it's by law, they have to put fire retardant on it. And the oils dissolve and digest petrochemicals. Boom. You put a bottle in a gallon of paint, and you paint your room, there's no smell. And I know we have non-chemical paint, but artists that are painting, my friend Dario, who's like this major artist, he diffuses the whole time while he's painting because he uses oil paints, and it's bad. And he was starting to go down with his memory. His brain was really affected. Do you want me to break for a second?
No, I think we're doing good. How we
Did I
doing?
wear out your entire
No.
tape and time? And no.
You did it.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I do want to say one more
It
thing
is.
about thieves.
Go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, we'll definitely get some shots of that. We'd love to go into the.
Where's my aroma dome?
It's right over here.
Can I hold it up?
Yeah, I wanted to get a like an Instagram photo for that as well.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Cool.
Winland. There it is.
So,
The final product.
anybody who's going to end up like getting this, there's, I can open it up. It's only 2 folds. And I have a video recorded, but I need help because I don't know how to take a video I shot of me folding this. It's on my iPhone and how to get it to YouTube.
Oh,
So
yeah,
We
do
can
that.
help you with that.
I need help.
We got you.
We have to get that out there because
Yeah.
people, when people are learning and they're folding and trying it over and over, the wire actually can get, it can
Sure.
get stuck. And I can't replace those because
Sure.
it wasn't my fault. And you can't put it back in the bag, it's all twisted. And it folds identical to a sunshade for your car, same.
Okay.
And this is, it took me 9.5 years to perfect the prototype and change it and evolve it and change it. It seems simple, but it's got over 40 pieces to it. It's like unbelievable. And it's got a hanging boat pocket, so if an animal, I should just open this so you can. or
And you
not
can
yet.
you can do this in your shop, right? You have a place
Yes.
where it's set up where
The
you can go in.
cafe is also, I opened it for this.
Okay.
So it's called Essential Wellness. That's the umbrella name, and the Aroma Dome Wellness Center. We have 10 beds because God told me 10. I think I now know why. 3.5 years later, we've been open, ready to go. We are ready, and anybody, we're helping soldiers with PTSD that are suffering so bad. If anybody knows anybody with that, send them in because in 1 or 2 sessions. Remember, these oils, the right ones, which is what we've used. These emotional blends will erase the imprint of trauma from the amygdala, and then it's gone. It doesn't come back. It's done, and so. That's the answer, and it's so inexpensive, and it's so easy to do, and people buy it and have it at their homes, and it's not just for that. It's for boosting the immune system. You stop getting sick, or if you do have symptoms, you can turn it around like Ann did, my friend, so fast if you catch it at the onset. And the other thing too is you don't have to have anything wrong with you. That's when the sessions get fun because then you take what's right with you and you magnify it
There you go.
and you build on it, and it's like
like
like a manifestation chamber. It's like Superman. You go in the phone booth and you come out and you're like Superwoman, Superman.
Awesome.
So, and if there's something wrong with you, absolutely. We now have lots of naturopaths using it for Lyme disease. That's like a huge, complicated disease. And there's no magic bullet, although a lot of times there is with these. But I can't make claims anymore. So, anyways.
Do you have any advice for choosing a brand? Because I know that
Yes.
essential oils are starting to pop up everywhere in
Yes.
pop culture.
You
How
know,
can you tell which one's good?
Here, the Young Living is it for me. There's nowhere else to go. And I went to these harvests because I needed to see with my own eyes.
Young Living is the brand.
It really is. They have their own farms, Other companies, they have no farms. They pick up a phone and order, And we, the unsuspecting public, I was in France. I got to be one of 12 people for 2 weeks with Gary Young in France. It was like the 12 disciples. We would work in the lavender fields all day, and then we'd have dinner. It was at an old, ancient 15th century bed and breakfast, all stone, in the middle of, the farm is in Simeon. Simeon is population 36. And it's a cone-shaped village that no cars are allowed. So it's like cobblestones, and it winds up, and they have to walk and carry packages of their food or whatever up, And in the summer, it gets busy, and the population does grow to 75 because cousins come, and then
Pack the house.
when you walk up this little village, you're overlooking all these lavender fields and farming, and it's just stunning. So I got to be there, and we were, working in the fields all day, and then we would have class at night. And at one point, we were third in line to distill our lavender plant material, and these other 2 companies were before us, and we were all just standing around waiting so we could put our plants in. And Gary Young called us over. He said, "You see, you guys, I told you this morning, and here it is." They finished distilling their lavender in 15 minutes. And I was telling you this before, it takes an hour and a half to pull out the therapeutic compounds of lavender and not 15 minutes. But how would we, the unsuspecting public, ever know that they only did 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they got the top note for the smell, and that's it, you know? But like, you know, they were making sachets and perfumes and things like that, and it was, do we need to wrap up?
I think so. I think we got a couple minutes.
Okay.
But show them that real quick.
Okay,
And we definitely are going to get some shots of your spot, too.
okay.
I mean, obviously, we'll say maybe.
I better stand elsewhere because it's going to pop open.
That's what I was saying.
Or
like
you
maybe,
better move.
Maybe show them this, and then we can show them that. Cause,
Well, I can open it.
We
It's
can
just,
take a picture of it later.
yeah,
If
because
we- if we-
yeah.
if we're gonna move,
Zach, go
we can
ahead
just
and
wrap it up.
go ahead and wrap it up.
yeah, I mean, whoops, here it is. Here's Aroma Dome. It's got a back pocket, zipper, and it opens up. It's got this internal wire. And you just lay in it and you breathe. We're breathing anyways,
Awesome.
but you breathe with consciousness and then watch the fold. Watch this.
Oop.
That's it.
That's
Less-
smooth.
Less than 2 pounds, and it goes in the bag. And I didn't bring the diffuser with me, but you want to use the diffuser it comes with only, and it has to go up in the pocket. It is not meant to use any diffuser on the floor.
And we'll get another video with that
yeah,
to
because
help
the
you do that.
molecules fall and it doesn't do anything. Yeah. So
Wrap it up, Z.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for joining us today, Julie,
absolutely,
all
it's
our
fun.
viewers. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We can do more too at another
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we'll bring you back
Because
for
there's
sure. We'd love to
a
do
lot
that.
to share about this world. And
If you're ever visiting Ashland, please stop into Essential Wellness
Yes.
and get even more info on everything we've been talking about. Thank you, Winlung. Thank you, Sun Yoga. Thank you, Variance Media.
Yay.
We
And-
out.
And I want to do
Thank
one
you.
more plug if I can. I'm just now this week started, and I need to formulate it, a Meetup Group, the very first one for Young Living Oils
Awesome.
at my space, 296 East Main Street. I'm considering once or twice a month on a Tuesday or Wednesday night from 7 to 9.
I'm hoping
and
for Tuesday.
Yeah, let's
so
do it.
Tuesdays
Tuesday?
off.
Okay, I'll do
Do
Tuesday
it.
night.
There you go. You heard it. Meet
Yeah,
up
Meetup.
with someone who's been there.
They've been there.
Yep, been
And
done,
done
it.
it.
Thank
Yep.
you. For sure.
All right, you guys, awesome.
You're now listening to the sounds of AM.